Okay, guys, some huge news in the movie world. So we knew a couple weeks back, Wonder Woman was moved to HBO Max. We knew that obviously then, and that was big because you think of big tentpole films, they've never really went to streaming before. Yes, you had Mulan, but that was different. Premium access, so it was a little bit different. But this is truly going to a streaming service that was intended to go theatrical. And at that moment, when Wonder Woman was moved to streaming services, I thought that that's the end. That just signifies the end of movie theaters because movie theaters need these big films to survive. It's just inevitable that there's no way around it because yes, they say theaters and streaming. And I think the fact that a potential vaccine is coming soon signifies that even more because they could have just waited out a couple more months to release Wonder Woman, but they said no, and I think that's because streaming is the future. Because ultimately, while they'll make more money in theaters, it's long term it might be better because the idea of them putting these big films in, I guess, in many ways forces families to watch it because it's such a big appeal to watch these big films. And so I thought at that moment that just signifying toward the end, and if the AMC deal with Universal, if the Cinemark deal with Universal, if the Cineplex deal with Universal didn't signify it enough, then this, I think in many ways you could say blows it out of proportion. Because the deals kind of led to this moment that we're here right now. And so I'd started to think like they're clearly leaving the movie theaters behind. And while at first it didn't seem financially viable, I think when I started to think about it more, I started to realize, hey, maybe there is some legs to not necessarily abandoning movie theaters, but moving away from it and kind of saying like, hey, I've always been, hey, the money's in the theaters. That's where people are gonna make the money. But think long term. HBO Max is 14 not I think $14. HBO Max is $14. And think about right now, $14. And so think about how much if they do good marketing, if they do good ads, think about how much money they can make with high premium content in the long run. Because right now, they're going to make a big financial loss with Wonder Woman. Right now. But in the future, and they will get more subscribers with Wonder Woman being on there. They will. But because, again, all the chit chat, all the talk, Wonder Woman's out, you can get it only on HBO Max or in theaters. Well, obviously not going to go in theaters for the most part, so on HBO Max. And so clearly, Warner Bros. Has faith in this format because it was just announced that their whole 2021 slate is moving to streaming and day and date release. Day and date basically meaning on streaming on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time. Basically, streaming. Basically, it means streaming because while if there's theaters still open, which is gonna be doubtful, and theaters dead. Theaters are dead. They're dead. They're dead. There's no getting around that. Theaters are dead, and that sucks because as a cinephile, as a movie fan, that I don't want to watch it on my TV right there. Look how tiny that TV is compared. It's a big size TV, but compared to the theater, which is nearly 10 times, if not more, 10 times the size of that room. Picture this. I'm sure a theater. That's my TV. A theater is the size of this whole wall. And the sound and being with a big atmosphere and making a night out of it is never unreplaceable. Yes, watching it at home is more convenient, but for things that I love, like movies, I think conveniency goes out the window when it's something like this, where I can watch a film that I've loved, or not loved, but I'd want to watch for years in these big tentpole films. But they're dead because Dune's gonna give us a lot of money. Nope. Anybody wants to watch it, they can just watch it on streaming. So the whole day and date release really has no effect because it's basically only on streaming. Because, and I feel so bad for the theaters because this, honestly, this would have never happened. Maybe it would have, but honestly, I think it never would have happened if it wasn't for this pandemic. And I just feel so bad because last year for the theaters, it was their best year ever, or in a long time. Think about the billion-dollar films. Think about the success. Like, yes, ticket prices went down, but also with, in inflation, they still made, a decent amount, same money that they probably made when there were more people going to the theaters. Point is, it sucks for the theaters, but I was just so amazed and so shocked. Now, this is not final, because if Wonder Woman comes out, and all these different films come out, and they don't do anything if not enough people subscribe, then maybe they'll cut back on that. But for the now, this is because everybody's like, "Yay, we're getting these films on streaming," but you're not getting anything better for it. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is what many people said. Oh, let's put these films on streaming. They meant let's not delay them putting on streaming now. But now I just it. What do I think about it? Clearly, they have big hopes. And clearly, they have faith in this strategy. And honestly, maybe they should. Because think about this. You want to watch Warner Brothers film? You have to be subscribed to HBO Max. That mindset is crazy. Because they have Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad. You want to watch Matrix 4? Matrix 4, you gotta have HBO Max. You want to watch The Suicide Squad? Gotta have HBO Max. You want to watch these little Oscar contender films from Warner Bros? You gotta have HBO Max. Because yes, you could say, and theaters. Yeah, theaters will not survive that. Theaters cannot. Because the room on an average great year is this small. The profit, And so theaters are dead. Theaters, that's no question about that. Warner Bros. Is a huge studio. They're dead. There's no getting around that. I thought it was dead from when Wonder Woman moved, but now this is just kind of the nail in the coffin. And it sucks. Besides cinephiles, besides movie fans, who is legitimately going to say, we can watch it at home, or we can go to the theaters and watch it, and we already have HBO Max. Why? Because, this is the truth. This is going to be the scenario. Everybody gets HBO Max because of Wonder Woman, or at least a lot of people. Then when The Matrix comes out, and they're like, should we go to theaters, or should we go to HBO Max? Then you're thinking, well, HBO Max, we already have it because of Wonder Woman. Well, yeah. And it's just... And then on top of HBO Max, if this is gonna happen, HBO Max will be. It won't be Netflix level yet, but it'll probably surpass Disney Plus, unless Disney Plus puts Black Widow and stuff, which they very well might, because there's definitely many videos out there talking about that. So it's crazy world. It's crazy, and I never thought this apocalyptic moment would be. It is apocalyptic. Because as a guy who, your earliest memories is going to the theater, seeing Avengers and all that stuff in the theater, in the big atmosphere, and looking forward for, literally, when the day Endgame came out, the whole day, I was like, I'm so excited for Endgame. I'm so excited. I'm going to see it. I'm so excited. That build up, and then being in the theater and seeing Mjolnir fly into Cap's arms is not, I rewatch Endgame at home all the time. It's still amazing. It still has great pop to it. But nothing compares. That's why I'm so glad the pandemic did not happen in 2019. Because can you imagine in 2019 not seeing Endgame in theaters? That just boggles my mind. And so it's crazy. So the question is, am I going to watch these films at home or in theaters? There's no choice. At home. Because theaters will not survive. If no one's going to the theaters for films like Wonder Woman and Matrix, then they're not going to survive. And it's unfortunate, but that's the truth. Stay tuned for videos coming at you.